are back with yet another tech power-up with EduTech. I'm Darcy Bakkegard here at Prairie Public.
And I'm Kelly Rexine with NDIT at EduTech. And to be honest with you, I don't know a lot about this topic, so I'm going to ask you some of the questions.
Woohoo! Like I get to answer questions.
Yeah. So we are going into Pear Deck, and Pear Deck's always been used with Google Slides,
Correct.
but now it's available for Microsoft PowerPoint. And since it's such a new Microsoft tool, I would like to learn from you.
I love Pear Deck, and the hardest thing for me about Pear Deck was sharing it with teachers and having Office 365 teachers go, "Can I use this?" and having to kind of burst their bubble. So this is fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a look at what Pear Deck is and how you can use it. So the first thing you need to know is it's only available in PowerPoint Online.
Okay.
So you need to make sure you're in the online cloud version.
Sure.
Otherwise, you're going to get lost. So that's rule number one. So we go into any PowerPoint presentation, and you did a great job. I did not know how to access my add-ins quickly. And so I was going here to tell me what you want to do and typing in add-ins, which is an option. But you showed us that you go to Insert, and then you open your add-ins. And if you need to get Pear Deck, I already have it in my add-ins, but you can find more in the Office store. Click on there and you can find Pear Deck, but all kinds of additional add-ins, like you can scroll through for those. But for my add-ins, and I think that anytime you open a new PowerPoint deck, you're gonna have to activate Pear Deck by coming here to your add-ins and adding it to this slide deck. I could be incorrect about that. I'm still pretty new. I've only played with it a couple times.
I believe you're right.
But then when you come back to home, you will see now I have Pear Deck over here. And when I click on my Pear Deck over here, it gives me this lovely side-by-side model. I have already connected my Pear Deck account with my Microsoft account. I logged in with my Microsoft account. But if this is the first time you're using Pear Deck, it's going to ask you to log in here. So just follow the steps, connect it with your Office 365 account, and then that way you can access this. So there are two ways to add slides. So we talked about this before, but like a Nearpod-esque kind of thing, this turns any presentation, any PowerPoint presentation into an interactive presentation. So you have these different options for asking students a question. So I'm on a slide, I can add an ABC question. And this—
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, this shows you, I love this because this shows you what the question is going to do.
Yes.
So the student, the nice thing about Pear Deck, every kid or every partner of kids, not every single child would need a device. They could be working in partners, they could be on their phones, it works great on phones, but they are going to have, you're going to type a response. So I'm going to update this slide and you can see students will write a response. So I just need to ask a question. Share two things. Right, so I could do this as an exit ticket. And I would, by the end of my presentation, have this embedded. When we get to this slide, students will automatically just have an open box and they will be able to respond to this question. And then you as a teacher can project their responses. So there is one option.
And I see there's a QR code down there. So obviously if I have a phone, I can...
You can also connect to the presentation this way. Yeah. So I can also do, this is probably the one I use the most, honestly, just a multiple choice. So whether it's a true, false, agree, a disagree, whatever you want, you will set up your choices. So again, your question, You will type on the slide itself, but you're going to type in your options here, and you can always add another one. So I can just say yes, no, don't know. And because I'm a high school teacher and I live on the wild side, I'm going to give students the option to say don't care. Might not be a safe thing. And same thing, I would put my question just right here on the slide. But when we get to this slide, students will have a multiple choice that they're going to put up. Then the other two, I've not used the number personally, but I can see why this would be very helpful. Students will put in a number and then it creates a dot range. So again, for me as an English teacher, honestly, I've never used this, but I could see why in a math class, if you wanted students to estimate, right, like you should have a picture on the slide, and then the question on the slide is estimate the number of blank, estimate the square, the area, or there could actually just be a math problem, you know, what is the area of this rectangle? And then students put in their response, and then it will show you, and then you get this little box around then, you know, kind of the median there in the middle. The last option, and one that is part of the free version, we'll get into these starred. The last option that I also love, because even 17 and 18-year-olds take 10 minutes to type in a URL. You can type in a web address, and when students are in your presentation, there will be a split screen, and it will have your slide on one side and the website on the other.
That's nice.
And students can be browsing the website, and then if they want to just go to the website, they just click on that and it will open a new tab. So you can take them to the website that you want them to go to.
Yeah, cool. That is nice.
Yeah, I've heard from a lot of elementary school teachers too, who are like, oh, that would be a game changer. Because getting students to this, and just like we logged in with our Microsoft Office 365 account, when we start a Pear Deck, I can present now with this Pear Deck. There's not a lot of content in here. So I clicked that present with Pear Deck, and now I'm going to project this screen for my students. So they will go to joinpd.com. They type in this code for your presentation, and then they will join with their Office 365 account. And there are a couple of things that I love about this whole transaction. So they don't need, like you were saying in other conversations, they don't need another account in order to join this. They're going to log in with the Office 365 account that they already have. In addition, when I go through the presentation, when I share these things, they're going to be anonymous when I project them to the class. When I do my multiple choice question, it's just going to give me a sliding bar of how many students answered which question, but there are no names. And I personally love that. I love the anonymity personally, because really for these kinds of formative assessments, all I really want is information to guide me in the lesson, right? I want just, did people understand what we just talked about? And if only 5 kids got the answer correct, no, they did not, and I need to reteach. So, but what this gives you is when you're done with the presentation, you can open up the analytics, and because students have signed in with their account, you can see after the fact what individual students said.
Gotcha.
So you could follow up with those individual kids.
So I could see this like, well, 80% of my students get this. Well, you think 80% we can move on, but maybe it's that those 20% of students that always are getting these wrong. So that's a powerful tool too.
Yeah, so in that lesson, maybe you do make that choice today of we're going to move on. But tomorrow, because you recognize 20% is still a pretty high number for kids to be confused. So you're going to look at that data, and now tomorrow's lesson, you're going to group kids up, maybe strategically with a chunk of kids who got them right and a couple kids who didn't. Or you're going to set up stations, and you're going to have a station for those kids who need a little bit more remediation. So this data can really guide your lesson immediately right now, but it can also help you prepare for tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
I see there's 2 stars there. What do those mean?
Okay, the star means that these are part of the paid version. As with so many great teacher tools, there's a free version that gives you so much. You do have a premium trial when you first sign up. So you can get that. The draw slide is just that. You have a slide and then students draw their response. The draggable, you can put any picture and then each student gets a dot and they can drag it to where they want. So a quick way to vote, to find countries, to all kinds of things that you can do with the draggable. But there's a little workaround for at least the draggable. If you go up here, they have this template library. They have critical thinking templates. They have social emotional templates. Cool. These are amazing. When you open this, it's going to take you to this template login. And it gives you the instructions of how to download these. But basically, you're going to download whatever set of resources you want. And you can see these different little sets. They have beginning, during, and end of lesson. You're going to view that set and download it, and then you will upload it to your OneDrive. So when everything is said and done, you're going to have these tools in your OneDrive. So this is my OneDrive. I have these. Now I can open up this slide deck, and I still have my original presentation that I was working on over here. But I have these other slides that are pre-made templates now. So they look a little bit nicer, right? You know, they have some instructions. You can add some of these things. So this is an open response, some open response. This is basically what I said, but it looks cuter, right? So if I want this one, I just copy that slide. So I can go back and then I can just paste in that slide, and now that slide from the template is there. Here's where this gets really cool. In the template, they have all of these different things. They have this thumbs up. This is a draggable, one of those paid versions. I can go back to my presentation, put in that draggable, and here is the big trick. This is deletable. Okay. So I can just delete these graphics. I can leave it as a thumbs up, thumbs down, but I can change this question, and now I can insert whatever picture I want. And so you could insert a picture of a map. So yes, the draggable is part of the paid feature, but if you use the templates, there's a little back door where you can kind of make your own draggable for free.
I like it.
I'm sneaky.
I like free.
I like free too. That's my mantra for teachers. Free things that truly help you hear your students. So like I said, I love how quick and easy this is. You obviously have these slides in and amongst your other content slides for whatever your presentation is. And then you just get these quick little temperature checks of how are the kids doing? What are they understanding? And you can dive into the data later if you want, but you don't have to. And I just think it's so slick and easy, and you can add them into any existing PowerPoint that you already have. Why wouldn't you embed a few extra questions to make any lecture more interactive, to give you more data, to keep the kids more engaged, and in generally just hear what your students are thinking?
That's awesome. thank you so much, because I've learned so much, and now I'm going to tell this to my teachers, because I have to play around with it more, but the teachers that I see in workshops and that kind of thing, this is definitely a kind of a little game changer, especially for me too. Like, I'm going to use that web address that I usually tell within my professional development sessions, like, go to this web address, and usually I have to put a bit.ly or write it up on the board or something like that. But if I have, Pear Deck, I think that's a powerful tool.
I use Pear Deck for every presentation that I give to teachers, because I always tell people, if there are 2 tech tools that you add into your repertoire, because there are so many tech tools and you can't use all of them. I don't think it's healthy for you or for the kids to use all of them. But if there are 2, my first one I always say is Flipgrid. Get Flipgrid and play with it. And my second one is Pear Deck. I just think those are 2 tools that you're going to use on, if not a daily basis, a weekly basis, to hear more information from more kids more of the time. They hardly take any time to set up and use, and they're so user-friendly. You're going to just take a little bit of practice, and then it's going to be golden.
Cool.
All right. Well, if you need help with Pear Deck, maybe for the time being, give Kelly a week, and then he'll be up to date and you can contact him. But for now, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you set up Pear Deck, use it with Google or with PowerPoint. And otherwise, they can contact you and the EduTech team for any tech support across the state. So if you need help with any Microsoft tool, give them a call. And where's your website so that they can learn more about all of the great classes that EduTech also offers?
Yeah, we're at www.edutech.nodac.edu, and you can find online classes or face-to-face classes or any of those resources there too.
So right after this, you'll see our contact information, and we'll see you next time for our next Tech Power Up with EduTech.